Okay, so in this module, we're going to be talking about creating your product. Now, the word creating here is actually somewhat not really applicable because, we're not going to be creating a physical product. If you are getting into the supplements business or if you're going to sell physical products like, fogless shower mirrors or iPhone accessories, whatever the product is, you're not creating that product. You're not going to be physically creating the pills that go into the supplement bottle if you're going to be selling, supplements or things like that. So when we talk about creating your product, what we're really talking about is creating your brand, creating your identity. And really, it's a lot easier than you think it is. So with that said, let's take a look at a few slides, and then we'll look at some real world examples, and I'll show you a couple of sites that are going to make your life a lot easier as it relates to creating your brand. So what's not listed here on this page is actually how should you go about the process of creating your brand. Really, truly, you don't need to overcomplicate it. Depending upon what you're doing, you need to kind of maybe have a brand that could be kind of neat, cool sounding. For example, I am going to be doing supplements and have done them before, but I'm doing them actually alongside you guys and creating a new supplement brand that's going to be on Amazon. And I called that supplement I called it Inspire Nutrition. So, that was my quote brand. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about that. I didn't, stress about it and worry about it. I just kind of, went to a local vitamin store and picked up a couple different names and combined those names and things like that. So if you're going to be selling, for example, shower mirrors or iPhone accessories or Android accessories or any other variation on a theme, um, computer mouse pads, whatever it is, make it a little bit applicable, but you also want to make it maybe generic. For example, if you're going to be selling physical products, you don't want to lock yourself. You don't want your brand to be the shower mirror company, as an example, because you want to give yourself the ability to sell product number 2 and product number 3 and product number 4, and you don't want your brand, to be the shower mirror company. Whereas it could be, your brand if you're going to sell shower mirrors could be, XYZ Home Goods or XYZ Home, and I'm just using XYZ as just kind of a catch-all, but you get my point. So kind of keep it generic enough where you can sell product number 2, 3, 4 is really where I'm going with that. Also, you want to keep your brands kind of applicable. For example, I have a nutrition store on Amazon. You won't catch me selling other products in that store. Like I won't sell shower mirrors, as an example, in my nutrition store. Okay, so again, just all things for you to consider. Okay, so as I said, the beauty of private labeling is all you're going to have to create is your brand. That's it. You're going to create a logo or a label or packaging depending upon what it is that you're selling. And oh, by the way, if you're not a graphic designer or anything else like that, don't worry about it because there are people out there that you can pay very low rates relatively to, and you can have a complete new identity created. I've given you a couple here. 99designs.com is an amazing resource, and we're going to look at that. There's another site that you may or may not be aware of. It's called warriorforum.com. We'll look at that. And then also always remember that your supplier may actually be able to do it for you. The thing here that really keep in mind is that you need to make sure that your logo looks very good and very professional because people are going to be basing a buying decision off of what your logo looks like and off of what your packaging looks like. So if you go really cheap and don't spend the money, and by the way, the most you can spend here is about $300. And if you try to really do it on the cheap and you get junk, then you're going to not have as many sales. Okay, so you definitely want your logo to be very good and very professional. Also, you will want to get professional images taken of your product or have your product 3D rendered. And I'm going to give you some examples of what that looks like when we jump over to Amazon. But again, images are the main number one reason that people buy and why they buy one product over another. Images are crucial. You want multiple images of your product. More is always better here. And if you can have people using your product in the images, that's even better as well. If it's appropriate, or your product lends itself to somebody, to having a picture of somebody using the product you're going to be selling. Obviously, you want to get after you want to initially contact the designers and get the designers working on it, and then you get the label and packaging to your supplier for approval, because they may or may not have some changes that they want. And then they will come back to you and say, yes, this is good and we're cool with this. Also, what's not noted here is that you're going to want to get a UPC code added to your product as well. You can get UPC codes on if you just Google the term UPC code, you can expect to spend $2 to $10 for a UPC code, and you're going to want that as well. Also, you're going to want to make a note here that you may want to get the Amazon UPC code embedded in your label as well. Amazon, with their FBA program, is going to charge you 20 cents per label applied. So if you do not embed your Amazon UPC code, this is a different UPC code. It's the UPC code that Amazon puts when your product arrives at the FBA warehouse. You can obviously not put the UPC code and then they're going to slap another label on. That's fine, but you're going to pay 20 cents for them to do that. You do have the option to embed that Amazon UPC code in your label or your packaging, or as well. Just know that that's there as possible as well. Okay. So, after your label has been applied to whatever your product is that if you feel that you need it, it is appropriate, you can request a sample with your label to make sure that everything, meets your specifications. Okay, so let's do this. Let's jump over here real quick and kind of look at some real life examples here. And then lastly, before we end up, I'm actually going to show you also how to create kind of your basic Amazon company listing as well. So we'll get into that in this video as well. Okay, so as far as getting logos designed, really the two options I've given you is 99designs.com and then the Warrior Forum. On 99designs.com, it's really a cool site. It's going to cost you about $295, and you will get some amazing logo designs done. I've actually had, 3 or 4 logos designed over the years by these guys. They're excellent. And what it is you create a job, and you can go here to 99 Designs and go to how it works, and you'll see. But basically, you build a design brief, you choose a package, bronze, silver, or gold, and then you launch a contest. And that contest then is put out, and there are minimum 30 to 60 plus designers will actually submit a logo or a packaging or a label design, whatever that you get, to you. And then you go through the process of, you're going to receive designs, you give feedback to the ones that you like, and you start gradually picking the winner, because there's absolutely going to be designs that you like and some that you don't, and you're going to start to see that, hey, out of these 30 designs, there's 3 or 4 or 5 that I really like. And you start having feedback with those designers, and you say, hey, you submitted a red version, I want you to make it yellow, and I want you to, make it a little, change this and this. And they'll start actually, showing you your logo in the process, and you'll get to change it. And again, it costs about $300, and you will be shocked at the quality. It's amazing. This is a great service. So real quickly, you go to 99 Designs, you see pricing. This is for a logo design. You see right here is $299. That's basically you're guaranteeing at that level that you're going to be awarding the gig, as they call it. So just know that's roughly what it's going to cost you. And by the way, my expectation is that you get more than 30 designs, by the way. They're just trying to bump you up here to get you, 60 designs and better. You don't need to spend more than the $299. You'll get more than enough here. Also notice that you can, this is for a logo, just a logo. You can get your entire product label designed, by the way, for the same price, including a logo. So just know that's here as well. So, for example, in the supplements business, you're going to get a basic template of the label that has all of the all the nutritional information, and some of the wording that the company, the private label company is wants on there. So you're going to take their template, and then you can actually upload their template to 99 Designs and have the logo designers actually, take the basic template and then, pretty it up, make it cool looking and all that. So, that's kind of the process there. So just know that that's an option. So again, $2.99 is a really, really good price for what you get here. If you don't want to go $2.99, there's one other option. It's called warriorforum.com. And when you go to Warrior Forum, you can actually go to Warriors for Hire section. So if I go here real quickly and go to, they keep changing all this, go to Warriors for Hire, and then you can just kind of scroll through here and you're looking for designers. Now, you're not going to actually see like a logo design per se, but all of these guys can do logo designs and things like that. So, like for example, you can go here. I've actually worked with this guy before. He's pretty good. But you can see that, look, he does really decent, good logo designs, right? And he and people like this can actually also create labels for you as well. And the pricing is going to be about, $150-ish to get somebody like this. Now, the downside to this is that you're going to get one guy or gal who are going to be doing, instead of getting, say, 30 different designs or plus from, when you do 99 Designs. So that's the trade-off. You're spending less money, but you're getting less people bidding. So, just know that. All right. So that's warriorforum.com. You can use that as well. Also, let's talk about pictures. We talked about that in the presentation. So you can see this is an example of a supplement. And so what, when you're talking about a label, we're talking about basically the label. But there's different variations. So you can have, all of these components is what we're talking about getting layered in, these little graphic design elements, if you will, right? But also pay attention to the image itself. This is a 3D rendered image, and it's on a white background. But you see, it's professional. It's got little, and this actually might have been a professionally taken picture. But you can also have 3D rendered images as well. So you're going to want to, maybe find a resource for that. And you can find those guys potentially on 99 Designs with the designer you're using, potentially on Warrior Forum as well, things like that. Okay, so you're going to want to pay attention to that, because again, your picture is really, what is going to sell, your product. For example, if you go to this one, I'm just using Garcinia as an example. Look, they've got 6 different pictures here, all with kind of different angles of the bottle to give a buyer as much information as possible. But you see how it's got like little effects on the bottle itself, kind of these little glossy effects. These are really nice images, and they're on a white background. See this little, it's got this little shading in the bottom here. What they don't have is maybe a pretty woman, or maybe a fit man and a woman picture here with showing them with the bottle, things like that. Again, those are some examples of things that you want to think about when you're looking at your images. You need to absolutely have images that speak to the customer and speak to the quality of your product, and they look professional. Okay, so that's how we accomplish that with with getting professional designers to do this. Okay, so that's graphic design, and you know what? We're going to do another video where I'm going to show you how to create kind of your basic company listing in your Amazon account, and I'll actually go over what mine looks like as well. Okay, so that concludes the video on getting your logo and your identity and your labeling done, and a couple places to find that. So I'll see you in the next video.